All too often we go through recruitment processes and we will hire someone based on all of the quality and control kind of questions around whether they can do the job maybe, but not about whether they're the right person for your business, for the team, for your clients. Just saying.
House music.
And then I want to think about, when we go to interviews, one of the things we always come up against, and I'm not saying not to do these, by the way, is talk me through your CV. Let's have a look at your qualifications. What experience do you have? How long have you worked in this industry? Have you worked in this industry before? A great one in the NHS, by the way, is do you have NHS experience? Well, you've got to get in the bloody NHS to get the experience in the first place. If the first qualifying question is, have you ever worked in it? Well, that would rule out quite a lot of the population at the very beginning. Okay. Sometimes just because you haven't got the experience of working in the NHS, which is a unique beast in its own right, by the way, that's why they ask that question. But it doesn't mean you don't have transferable skills that will enable you to work in the NHS. And sometimes having the right person and being able to give them that exposure and experience might be better than hiring the wrong person, but who had the experience of working in the NHS. It's that balance, okay? But you must measure the person. All too often we go through recruitment processes and we will hire someone based on all of the quality and control kind of questions around whether they can do the job maybe, but not about whether they're the right person for your business, for the team, for your clients. Just saying. You need to be able to focus on getting the right person into your business, not just any person into your business. I mean, at the end of the day, there's a great analogy that, I could have the best widget maker in the world. They could be awesome, terrific. They've got shit tons of experience in what they do. They've been doing it for years, in actual fact. They're the most qualified. And for whatever reason, they're considering working for us. This is astounding. They're the best widget maker ever. Dear God, thank you. But they're a complete arsehole. They're an absolute dick. They find it hard to get along with anybody. They're massively disruptive. They think the world owes them something. They're your biggest problem in terms of being able to manage them for their timekeeping or sickness absence or whatever the case may be. But you know what? They are the best widget maker ever in the world that's existed. But they don't fit within anything and they don't work well with other people. Why would you bring that person into your business? I would rather not have a person in my business filling that role than to get an arsehole in who's great at what they do. Because they're just going to alienate everybody else. And it doesn't matter how good they are, it's not going to make up for the impact they're going to have in a negative way on everything else in my business. So if I just base things on their quality of what they can do, I could find myself having a great person who can do the job, but who's the worst person for my business and my team. Why would I want to do that? I already have a makeup of people here. Why would I want to bring any Tom, Dick, and Harry into my business to look after my baby? Why would I do that? So you've got to measure the person. And the best way, by the way, of measuring the person is looking at their values of who they are, their personality, and also those of yourself. Number one point here, another video again coming back, but the number one point here is when you're looking at values, a lot of businesses, I would say about 90% of the businesses that we deal with either don't have any values, any core values in their business whatsoever, have values, but they're poor and they've been put down as like a marketing or some kind of other process that doesn't really meet the identity of the business, doesn't describe it at all. Or they have them in place, but no one knows about them. No one promotes it. It's just something that's on the board or on exec level, in that kind of environment. That's what tends to happen. Now, if you don't have visions in place, that's what I'm talking about. If you don't have values in place in your business, ultimately, you're not creating. I'm doing it again. I'm hitting the microphone. If you don't have values in place in your business, then your business doesn't have a concrete personality that's fixed down. It means that when people come and work in your business is going to be a schizophrenic. Today it can have one personality and be one way, but another day it could be another personality. You could have teams within your business that have their own unique cultures, their own unique values and everything else in that team under the business. Meaning that if I go from one team to work in another team to another team, I can almost in 3 entirely different businesses. It's a schizophrenic business. There's no one kind of culture, no one sense of personality in anything. And that's a massive problem for you when you're measuring people and also in your business in general anyway. But that being said, you want to be able to see people don't have to kind of align perfectly. So our core values in our business, which are, it's one of them's in our logo, for God's sake: simplicity, family, honesty, teams, humor. Those are our 5 core values as to who we are. So when you come in, they serve a purpose. And you should have something similar within your business that identifies who you are, that people can align to. They don't have to, I don't need to interview someone and say, so what's your values? Well, number 1, simplicity, family, honesty, humor, and teams. Whoa, that's perfect. That's amazing, right? You don't have to do that. It doesn't have to perfectly align. What we're looking for is who are you as a person? What are the core things you stand for? What are important? What things are important to you? There's no right or wrong answer on this, by the way, right? What are the things that are important to you? And then I need to make an assessment. How do those things add value to us? How do those things add value to the team? And does that fit in with the team? Would that kind of person fit in? Some teams are a little bit laissez-faire. Getting in a perfectionist into that team might not be a good mix if that's what you've got set up, or vice versa, the other way around, right? If they're really laid back, they're practically horizontal, but you've got a real committed team that are driven to perfectionism to do the best, they're going to clash, and it doesn't matter how good they are, they're not going to fit. So you need to look to measure the person's values, who they are, their identity, them as a person, as well as all their skill sets, qualities, qualifications, experience, exposure, blah, 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 blah. You want to measure the whole caboodle, basically, and make sure you've got the right person, the right fit for you in your business. Hi everyone, thank you so much for watching the video that you're tuning into right now. It means the world to me that you're watching that video, but I want to just take a small snippet of your time, the smallest amount of your time, just to tell you about this amazing offer that we have on board for all of you right now in your businesses. Everything that we're doing, everything that we're talking about is predicated on how we can help you to maximize the potential of your business, the potential of your people in your business, and your teams that your people belong to. Right now, if you head over to the website that's in the background there in our new studio, which is inquiry.cavilhr.co.uk, that's inquiry.cavilhr.co.uk, you can pick up a free employment contract for your staff. This is monumental. It enables you to be able to make changes, customize the contract to your liking for your staff, for your business, but also to ensure that you're remaining legally compliant. Head on over now, pick up your free contract, register your details. Let's get back to the video. That's the key thing here as well. You're not just measuring based on their ability to do the job, you're measuring them on their personality and whether they're the right person for you to do that job in your business and your team. Okay, so that's another crucial element. One of the things, oh my God, if I had a pound for every time, one of the biggest things that happens is that people they go out to recruitment and they feel that because I've gone out to recruitment, I've gone through this process. Maybe I've paid for freaking advertising or a recruitment agency to help me on this process. I'm already out of pocket. I've got to put somebody in this post because I need the job done. Well, the problem is if you bring the wrong person in, They'll be doing something, you would hope, to some kind of caliber, one would hope, but you're going to spend all your time then having to manage it. You're going to make a rod of your own back. You're going to swap one problem for another problem. You're still there spending your time dealing with something. It's so much easier to try and get the right person on. If you don't, no one you have interviewed fits the criteria, caliber, doesn't meet your avatar standards, doesn't meet the values that you think would fit within your teams and your business, you don't appoint them. You have a choice. You don't have to feel obliged to give them the job. You don't have to do that. You can recruit nobody. That is entirely an option here that is on the table. And what happens so often is that businesses feel an obligation as a manager. There's pressure on me to fill the vacancies in my team. There's a pressure on me because I am being measured by the success of my team and I'm a man or woman down. How can I fulfill what I've got to do if I don't recruit? I have to get somebody on board. But then you're going to spend all your time managing a problem, because you end up getting the wrong person in the wrong role in the wrong business. And one bad apple spoils a bunch, and it takes a lot of effort, a lot of work, and a lot of time to resolve these problems. Before we can do anything, when we start working, a bit of a backdrop here, I'm going on a tangent now. I've really got the bit between my teeth, but I can't even say it, a bit between the teeth. So the big thing that we have here is we work on a cycle. Now, I would love to be able to say that I was, really, really all powerful and had knowledge beyond my years that helped me develop this particular kind of cycle that we have that works so well within businesses. The fact of the matter is, I didn't. I fell on it. I fell on it because it happened repetitively. Every time we took in a client, same thing. New client, same thing. New client, same thing. Happens every time. It's the same cycle. Why? Because it's the same problems that happen in every business, regardless of what industry you're in or what background you're in, right? And that problem is we come in and we have a look. We lift up the hood, right? We have a look under there and we see the engine and we go, right, okay, we can see there's a problem, there's a problem. We can make a difference here that will give you better performance, make the vehicle faster. There's some functionality issues just under here, so we can tweak that and change that. And we can do all these different bits and pieces, right? So we've got all this working. This is fantastic. But before we can do any of it, before we can implement any change, before we can do anything that's going to make a difference to that organization, right, whatever type of organizational sector it's in, there will be what we call dead wood. We don't call them dead wood because of the other connotations you have. We look at a business like a tree. And as the tree grows, it sheds branches to help it to grow further. Now, if it kept that dead wood, it would restrict the growth of that tree. In fact, it could even kill that tree. So what we want to do is make sure we're removing the dead wood. It's poisonous and it's holding it back to enable it to flourish, grow, and bloom. That's what we want, right? That's what we want in your business, to grow and bloom. Well, if we keep this dead wood in place, it's not going to. And it doesn't matter what things we put in place to help it to grow and bloom, it's never going to get past the dead wood. The dead wood is the people that are in your business that are the wrong people in the wrong roles in the wrong freaking business. And they're there all the time. So before you can do anything that you've implemented, you've got to focus on creating and resolving these headaches and problems in businesses. And the reason that they were there is because you hired them, right? Now, like I said, this is not foolproof. Recruitment is not a foolproof process. It is fallible. 100% it is. The problem you have is if you take these people on, you feel obliged to put the wrong person in the wrong role. You don't measure the person whatsoever. But then over the distance of time of having them in your business, it becomes evidently clear that they're an asshole and they're not going to fit in within your team. Or perhaps you're a team of assholes and they're not going to fit within your team. Do you know what? It goes both ways, right? But in that situation, it's never going to work, right? So then you've got a problem. And then you sit on it and you sit on it and you sit on it and you sit on it. And that's on you. That's your responsibility. That comes down onto you in terms of your own performance. I'm sorry to tell you, but that's the truth. So you had an opportunity to measure correctly When you found out you've measured correctly, you need to take steps to action on that. But there is the process of trying to get this right first time. That, in actual fact, was what we actually called this, and we thought that sounds a little bit kind of up ourselves, a little, saying get it right first time, because it is fallible. You can't always get it right first time, but you need to measure the person to try and make sure you're doing everything you can within your power to try and make sure you are getting the right person first time. Okay.